Good day. We are going to look at various controls that we have to manipulate the information once we have it in our folders. Clearly, the items we want to be able to move or copy or do any of those things. Now, there are several ways in which this can be selected. If I simply do a right click on that item, then a little panel comes up and it gives me 6 options. I can mark it as completed or deleted. Or if I happen to have highlighted an item that's either completed or deleted, I can make it active again. So it's very simple and straightforward to use. You can, however, also select multiple items at the same time. If I selected that one and I use Shift and left click, I can select all of them. If I use Control and left click, I can select an individual one. I also have the same options under folder options here, where I can go and either copy, move, merge notes, complete, delete, and so forth. But I also have some reporting functions on this wheel, which we will cover later. So for now, what we will do is we will have a look at maybe the copy function. So I will go and select that one at the top, and I will select the next one, shift down, sorry, and I will say I want to copy this. To keep it simple, I will copy it to our stuff folder over there. I will go over here and select stuff. What the system will do now, 2 things. It will copy them one at a time. That means I can select a whole bunch of them and then selectively decide which folders I want to copy them to. In this case, I'm going to copy both to the folder stuff. And in addition to that, there's a default position here that says link the notes. Now, as soon as you say link the notes, it keeps the copied item connected to the original item, and any note entered on any one you can see on the other. So for now, I will say next, and you will see it has copied that one. It's now come up with a second item. If I wished, I could now go and change a different folder to copy that one too, but I won't for now. I will just say done, and it will conclude the copy of that. If I go to my stuff folder now, I will have those 2 entries showing under stuff. Now you might remember that the first one had a note, the second one didn't have a note. It tells me where it came from. My username at the moment that I'm logged on with is Fred, and it came from my to-do list. Any note that I now enter from here will automatically show on the other side. But there is another thing that we can do. Let us say, for instance, let's go back here and take another item that I want to move. I'm going to take the meeting with Fred, and I'm going to move that, and just to keep it simple, I'm going to move that to stuff as well, and I'm going to say done. The difference now is it will physically remove it from here, and now it will only appear on the stuff one, and you will notice that there is no source for it now. There's another little button I haven't explained, this little one over here. If I select that and then simply press done, it highlights it. Now the purpose for that is anything where you are waiting for something to happen. You just tick it, and at a glance you can see all items that are waiting. You can go and switch that off at any time, and it has absolutely no impact on anything in the system at all. Now we spoke about the notes that are automatically linked. Well, what happens if I have an entry over here where I don't have the notes linked at all to anything? It's an entry that I've made here, and I've entered a note, and in this case I will go and do that for our meeting with Fred, and I will go and enter a new note for my meeting with Fred, and I will call this test notes transfer, and I will put in here that this is a test only, and I will say done. So I now have my meeting with Fred. I have that note over here and this note over here. If I go back to my to-do list, I'll go and find an item here that has absolutely nothing linked to it whatsoever. Let's look at send letter to grandma. That has nothing attached to it at all. I will go back to stuff, Typically where one would use this is, let us suppose that in your contacts you've got an entry there for Fred Blogs. You've now been working on some stuff and you have a number of notes against that, and you say, hang on a second, I would like to connect the notes that I've made here to my original entry in contacts for Fred Blogs. So maybe we should go and do that. I will go to contacts, of which we have none at the moment, and I will go and put a new one in, and I will call it Fred Blogs. So for now I'll just type in, I'll keep this short, and I probably misspelled it, but never mind, and I will say done. So I now have one entry that is called Fred Blogs, and as you can see it has no notes attached to it at all. Over here I've got my meeting with Fred, and that has 2 notes attached to it. I will go and right click on there, and I will say merge the item notes, and it will say where do you want to take that to, and I will say I want to take that to contacts. It will go along and show me whatever I've got. I've only got one entry, so I'll choose Fred Blogs, and I will say done. What the system will now do is it will backward link it and now tell me that it has connected this item to Fred Blog in contacts, and it has connected the notes. So if I go back to my contacts now, there's Fred Blogs and there are the notes. So you can make entries and later decide that you would like to connect the notes to a particular item. So in summary, we can copy from one folder to another. The default is that the notes are linked. If we disconnect that little link by ticking it off, then it will not copy the notes and it will not have a source. We can move items where it literally moves from one folder to another, and we can backward link notes after the event. It is very useful when one is using the contact as a mini CRM. You might have 20 interactions with somebody on a range of subjects where you do not necessarily want to keep the information, but if ever you find that there are notes you do want to keep, you don't have to re-enter anything. All you have to do is link the notes. I hope that is more clear than it sounds to me right now. Goodbye.